You know what they say about hope not being a strategy? Debatably, they're probably right. Of course, it's more than that. Hope is life itself. And we rise on the strength of hope this morning to bring you your perfect day starter, the morning brief. And we're live for you right here on Channels Television. Good morning. I am Bukola Koka, who's always blessed among men. Hello, Jeffrey.
It's a weekend
Hello,
edition
Kari.
of the show, so
Yeah.
I'm super excited. I love the weekend. It just helps you to slow down a bit, recover from whatever it is you've been through, and just reflect on the past week so you can project for the new week. I hope that's how it is for you if you have a weekend to rest, because not everybody rests on the weekend, but it's important you have a day or two to just get away from that activity so that you can be more productive. Welcome to the program. I'm Jeffrey Uzoma.
For those people, it sounds like no rest for the weekend. But hey,
It's not another EPL weekend, right? Is it?
no.
EPL is over.
I mean, it's been over for some time. So the saying is no rest for the wicked. But for people who work during the weekend, it is no rest for the weekend.
Oh, but thankfully we're not wicked.
Exactly. So it's a play on words. But hey, welcome to the morning brief. 24 hours away from party jollof. It's in the little things, the hope that we have. It's in the very little things. So some people look forward to Saturday because of the party jollof. So hold up. We're almost there.
And for some people, by my right here, it's time for sleep.
Yeah, no, I sleep every other day as much as I can. I catch sleep in between the day, so I get away from work. I'm quite nocturnal. I sleep late, wake up early.
Yeah.
So between the after the day to the next evening, I try to catch a bit of sleep. Whether it's an hour, 30 minutes, or 30 minutes, whatever it is, it's good for your health in the long term. So you can avoid cardiovascular issues and all of that. There's no pride in saying I sleep 2 hours a day because you hard working. You really want to spend your old age in good health. So you do your own part. It's not as if any of this thing can stop anything, but it is a part you need to play. I think you should play that part and not just be, go against nature as much as you can. So that's why I love to sleep when I want to sleep. I think there should be a sleeping contest. I think I'll go far.
Sleepathon.
Yeah, sleepathon.
All right, let's support Jeffrey.
I think I will go
Jeffrey
far.
is unabashed about the things that he loves.
Yeah, no,
Even if it is sleep competition.
I love this because I think I work fairly hard when I want to work hard. Yeah. So I think I deserve sleep when I should sleep.
Play hard.
Yeah, I just like to sleep. Yeah,
so I've been also doing research on which works better, and it's quite tricky. Some people cannot afford to sleep 8 hours stretch for obvious reasons. So is it better to try and clock in at least straight 6 hours, 7 hours, 8 hours, or sort of break it 2 hours here, 4 hours there, another 2 hours there, maybe 30 minutes here and there when you can. And I've not been able to find which one works. Well, most people say you can do the long stretch. It's more wholesome, you buy things in dozen price. But I'm going to stop there.
No, continue, please.
But essentially,
we're totally enjoying it.
You know what crossed my mind?
No, allow Kari, please.
Okay, land on your thoughts. Let's say to her again. Can you land on your thoughts?
It's a Nigerian mother and me. You buy things dozen price. That's why you get the fair value of it.
Funny enough.
So you sleep at dozen price, so you get the fair value of it.
You get it.
Yeah, I get it.
I was on lunchtime yesterday, and I had to refer to the guy. I was talking to the TUC guy. I said, my colleague says, better go and price it like Nigerian money. I was started laughing at the serious show, but hey, it's what it is.
Well, it seems as if that Nigerian mother approach to the minimum wage negotiation is being deployed yet again with just a couple of thousands added. Speaking of what to do to live a wholesome life, we have something for you. Coming up on the program today. But as we start off, the current administration, has at its campaign manifesto. We'll bring you all of that in the course of time. But really, more importantly, the National Film and Video Censors Board has come under spotlight in recent times following its restriction of content such as ritual killings and smoking in Nigerian films. So we reviewed the factors that informed that decision, amongst others that form the core mandate of the National Film and Video Censors Board.
Well, that is not all. We will be looking at a few things. When it comes to your old age, you need to pay attention to this. Pension funds provide an avenue for citizens during their active years to accumulate wealth and safeguard their financial well-being in their old age. But how does pension administration work in Nigeria? And perhaps the bigger concern is what's the fate of workers' pension funds in the face of all of the inflation we're seeing and its long-term impact on eroding incomes. Surely you need answers to help you make informed decisions today for your tomorrow.
It's a total package today, guys. We're giving you breakfast. We've talked about sleep. But there's another thing you need to add to the mix: fitness. In your fitness journey, did you at any point chance upon the stick exercise? Well, the uniqueness of an additional tool to help you control weight by engaging multiple muscle groups and improving cardiovascular health is just brilliant when you think about it. So let's take you on a stick aerobics exercise or journey today. So stick around.
For some sticky aerobics.
Totally.
But let's also remind the students that today, I think the portal should open for the students' loan. Today, it gets activated. So my simple counsel is there's an act. It's barely 12 pages. Go read through that act. Understand the act. Then apply. 1.2 million, I guess, in the first phase for federal universities. It will trickle down to state universities much later. I think about 50 billion or so up in the work. So if you need money to go to school, federal government says they've got some in their savings. Yeah. Go get it.
This is not for students of life. All the people that say I'm a student of life.
You did not have to go there.
It's for students in Nigeria's tertiary institutions, federal tertiary institutions. And you have the benefit of applying throughout your 4-year or 6-year or 7-year journey in the university, federal universities. So we have quite a number of things on the lineup for you today. You just must stick around to be a part of it. All the works of what we have for you today. And speaking of which, you can start texting via WhatsApp. You can also start posting to us on X, on Instagram, and on Facebook. Is it the student loans that kicks off today that you want to talk to us about? Perhaps you've tested the process and you see what it's like. And there's a whole lot that you can also talk to us about. The Game of Thrones that is happening in Kano State, right? Of course, I'm sure that's a big talking point as well. So let's start talking together. After this break, it'll be time for us to bring you the top stories on the morning brief. So stay with us. Your perfect day starter is unfolding.
All right.
Welcome back. Now, it's been described as a political twist reminiscent of the stuff seen in the epic movie script Game of Thrones. It's the reinstatement of Mohammed Sanusi as Emir of Kano by the state government of the administration of Abba Yusuf. Governor Yusuf announced the historic reinstatement right after signing the Kano State Emirate Council Bill 2024 into law. The new law replaces the Kano State Emirates Council Law 2019 and dissolves the 4 Emirate councils created by Governor Yusuf's predecessor, Abdullahi Ganduje, and gives the 4 emirs 48 hours to vacate their palaces. The affected emirates are Bichi, Karaye, Rano, and Gaya.
Guided by the provisions of the Kano State Chiefs and Emirs Appointment and Deposition Law 1984 and the Kano State Emirate Council Referral Law 2024, with full support of the Kingmakers, I have approved the reappointment of Malam Sanusi Lami popularly known as Muhammadu Sanusi II, as the new Emir of Kano. May I announce that the 5 former emirs affected by the Kano Emirates Referral Law 2024 are given 48 hours from this hour to vacate official residences, palaces, offices, and equally hand over all properties of the former emirates to the Honorable Commissioner for Local Governments and Chieftaincy Affairs, who also doubles as the Deputy Governor of Kano State.
And before the reinstatement, the announcement reinstating him as Emir of Kano, the former governor of the Central Bank of Nigeria, His Royal Majesty Mohammed Sanusi II, was in Port Harcourt, the River State capital, where he was the keynote speaker on the second day of the River State Investment and Economic Summit. He emphasized the need for responsible taxation, strategic infrastructure development, and quality education as some of the key government responsibilities that are pathways to development beyond oil.
The reform of an economy, whether of a state or of the federation at large, requires difficult decisions. It involves policies that may be painful and unpopular, which don't usually go down well with politicians who need re-election. But that is the only way to guarantee a better future for the same people that might be hard on. And at this point, it's important for us as Nigerians to be realistic. The mismanagement of the last 10 years will not be undone in 6 months or 1 year. And we need to understand that some of the difficult decisions that are taken will take time to work through the economy. It will take a little while for us to see a turnaround, but those decisions are absolutely necessary in order to save the economy. We always knew we would have to go through this process if we did not change course. And we have seen this movie, seen it in Zimbabwe, seen it in Venezuela, we've seen it in Argentina, and it is a movie we do not want to be a part of. I do hope that we'll make this transition a short one and go back to economic growth. But it is the right thing to do.
Former Vice President Alhaji Atiku Abubakar says he will run for the presidency of Nigeria in the 2027 election, despite the challenges his party, the People's Democratic Party, is currently facing. Atiku has run to become Nigeria's president for 6 times within 3 decades, his most recent attempt being in the 2023 presidential election as the PDP candidate. At his last attempt, the 77-year-old got 6.9 million votes to come second in the poll won by Bola Tinubu of the All Progressives Congress, who secured 8.7 million votes. When asked whether he would try again, Atiku told the international media that, God willing, he would try again. And in another development, also signaling a return to the past, the House of Representatives has passed a bill to revert to the old national anthem titled Nigeria We Hail Thee. At the Senate, the bill, which was sponsored by its leader, Okweyemi Bamidele, enjoyed overwhelming support from the lawmakers and was quickly passed through the first, second, and third reading within minutes. Meanwhile, the Senate has referred the bill to its relevant committees after passing it through second reading. And to legal matters now, a former Minister of Aviation, Mr. Hadi Sirika, and his brother, Hamad Sirika, were arraigned before an Abuja High Court over corruption charges on Thursday. The Economic and Financial Crimes Commission had filed a 10-count charge against the Sirikas for an alleged contract fraud valued at 5.4 billion naira, to which they pleaded not guilty. The EFCC alleges that the minister awarded the sums in contracts to Enginos Nigeria Limited, said to belong to his younger brother, Hamad Sirika. In the meantime, the trial of the detained Binance executive Tigran Gambarian at the Federal High Court in Abuja took a dramatic turn on Thursday as the defendant collapsed in court. At the resumed trial, Mr. Gambarian failed to enter the dock when he was called upon by the court registrar for continuation of trial, but remained seated at the back seat, prompting the trial judge, Justice Emeka Nwite, to ask after him. One of the lawyers in the defense team who sat beside Gambarian assisted him by the side while holding his hand towards the dock. But as they walked slowly to the dock, Mr. Gambarian slumped, and the lawyer helped him to sit in the front row seat. Lawyer to the defendant, Mr. Mark Modi, however, told the court that his client has been indisposed and a written application letter had been filed to notify the court about that. The Rivers State chapter of the All Progressives Congress is blaming the Rivers State government of being the cause of the political crisis in the state. The APC caretaker chairman in the state, Mr. Tony Okocha, made the allegation during what the party describes as a 1 million man peace walk for Tinubu in Port Harcourt, the state capital.
This is not purely APC event. This is renewed hope. Mr. President's family in Rivers State. To help us. This is again one of those attempts to woo him to come over to ABC and help us so that we will continue to win election for Mr. President, particularly when election comes for 2027.
And now to business. Despite challenges that have resulted in high production costs and demand crunch, a new report by the Manufacturers Association of Nigeria, MAN, has shown, among other things, that the confidence of manufacturers in the Nigerian economy improved in the second quarter of this year. MAN released its CEO's Confidence Index, MCCI, for the second quarter of 2024 on Monday, which measures changes in the pulse of operators and trends. The index moved to 54.6 points from 53.9 points in the previous quarter. The association revealed that although the business condition in the second quarter was more challenging than the previous quarter, some adjustments made by the government, manufacturers and households in response to the prevailing challenges caused the improvement in MCCI. And outside our shores, China has started 2 days of military exercises around Taiwan, a strong punishment for the self-ruled island separatist acts. The drills come 3 days after the inauguration of President William Lai, who has been called a dangerous troublemaker by Beijing. China sees Taiwan as a breakaway province that will eventually be under Beijing's control, but the island sees itself as distinct. Taiwan's defense ministry has condemned the Chinese drills as irrational provocations. And in sports, ahead of a crucial 2026 World Cup qualifier between the Super Eagles and Bafana Bafana at the Godswill Akpabio International Stadium in Uyo on June the 7th, Nigeria's head coach Finidi George says he knows the strengths and weaknesses of South Africa's national team. At a media briefing in Lagos on Wednesday, the 1994 Africa Cup of Nations winning winger revealed that he has picked trusted staff who will help him in his role as Super Eagles coach, including Turkish video analyst Mehmet Öztürk. Coach George also confirmed that he will announce the Super Eagles squad for the 2026 World Cup qualifying matches by this weekend.
Definitely we'll have one or two new faces, but the majority of the players will be those from the last AFCON. The league is just rounding up. We have to see those that 100%, because we're having some reports from our medical staff that some players are injured, so we have to give them some time to see if they can make the list or not. So, but I know definitely by this weekend the list will be out.
And that does it for the top stories. But what are your thoughts to some of the big stories that we're reviewing this morning? Jeffrey joins me now for that segment. Hello again, Jeffrey.
Yeah, absolutely, Bukola. So I'm sure that one of the things we will be talking about today is the reinstatement of Sanusi Lamido Sanusi as the Emir of Kano. It was a big story yesterday, and a lot of people have been talking. So let's get straight to what you've been saying on this particular one. And by the way, we understand that he's expected at the government house at about 9 a.m. or so this morning to take his letter of appointment from the governor of Kano State, Abba Yusuf. So at some point, hopefully, we should be able to cross over to Kano State to find out the pulse of the city, how they are receiving this news. But there's a lot you're also saying on X. So let's get straight to it, where you talk about this. Uncle Green, you call yourself at Poet Clem, says, why do governments get involved in monarchies? A big tint on our traditional institutions.
Well, that's his thoughts. Adlove Global Venture says, if I were him, I would take the position. I would not take the position again. The same people who reinstated him will use him for politics, and if deny them, they will dethrone him again.
Emeka Ekwere says, kingship don't turn table tennis, but what if another governor dethrone him again? Will he be enthroned again? So, people are just concerned that let's just separate these monarchies across board from the we'll call it the whims and caprices now, or the powers of politicians or the political class at the end of the day, because these are sacred institutions, religious and traditional institutions. Bukola, you have the next one.
But they also do have their role in governance, either by proxy, and this informs perhaps, I believe, the concern of some of our viewers who are speaking, because Mohammed Sanusi, when he was emir before the dethronement, was not a very quiet one. When he speaks, he gets politicians and everyone across the board uncomfortable in their seats. So perhaps will he be less vocal following his reinstatement? We really do not know. And if he's vocal, will it be something that the current administration in Kano will be comfortable with? So that's left to be seen.
All right.
This one is from Deberechi, who says, if Sanusi was the man you think he is, he won't accept that throne unless there's a plan to make the throne independent of state government. Another politician go enter tomorrow. Speaking of which, another politician would be, governor tomorrow now and dethrone him, SMH, that would be shaking my head.
Okay, Oluwasegun, he calls himself D-Best or herself, D-Best 101. I'm still wondering what will happen to the deposed one, and also hope this will not give incoming governors the power to remove and reinstate kings as they like.
And this last one appears to be positive but mixed. Kev O says, congratulations to him, but I have a question. What if another governor is elected into office? Will he be removed again?
That is the concern of everybody, which is why we say separate this thing. Whatever happens to the institution, let the traditional royalties and all of that sort themselves out, except it has to be the intervention of government at some point. But we'll see how that plays out. Let's go to the next one. The House of Reps has passed a bill to revert to the old national anthem. When I saw this, I was like, okay, what is this really all about? We had the old national anthem called Nigeria We Hail Thee, and they are reverting to that by this legislation. And that means we're not going to be singing Arise O Come again. Right?
Well, if it scales and if the president assents to it.
If the president assents to it. No, it has passed third reading, by the way. Mm-hmm. Okay, John, Abuchi 001 says there is unemployment, inflation, insecurity, millions of out-of-school children in the north, but national anthem is our problem. Bravo to the House of Reps for this timely, carefully thought-out, patriotic move. Nigeria, we hail thee indeed. I can see sarcasm all over that.
Absolutely. This next one is from Abiodun, who says, Nigeria has more priorities than this. There is economic crisis, inflation. National anthem is not our problem for now.
I Am Wise One says our current national anthem don't suit Nigerians because every of our leaders and even citizens are doing the exact opposite of what the anthem and pledge says. Our leaders, faithful, loyal, and honest, do they serve our fathers' land or their pocket? So the argument at some point is the fact that the tone and the language of We Arise O Come is too military in nature. So they need a bit of civil composure in our national anthem, which they believe Nigeria We Hail Thee conveys.
And apart from that, the argument of the legislators is that it's more in line with the call to true patriotism and the spirit of nationalism, hence the need to return to it. But more importantly, our actions should be what should be different. Well, this one is from Mr. Wises, I believe.
No,
Chigozie. That Chigozie MacDom says, how did we get here? Look at the people that should be doing everything possible to ensure that the executive reduces the inflation that is killing Nigerians. They are busy discussing the anthem that most of them cannot recite. How do you know that,
I think we'll tell our producer to get the person who sponsored this bill. We need to have a conversation with this gentleman or lady.
Or the Senate leader.
Yes, the gentleman or the person in the House. Godiano says, is the national anthem Nigeria's problem? What level of shadow chasing is this? Inflation at 33% unemployment, 33%. Unemployment, hunger, insecurity in the land, and we're concerned about national anthem. Who do us? Okay.
Well, Mickey Schofield, interesting name, says, so the bill gets approved and the new old national anthem is played during a world stage, say an international football match, and then Super Eagles players start to fumble because they're used to the old anthem. Tackle pressing needs and leave this. No. Let's leave Macclesfield.
All right, let's get to what happened in the courts. Yesterday, by the Binance executive, we understand Gambarian, he slumped yesterday in court, and people have been reacting. So let's get straight to your thoughts. Dean Meese says, I hope we don't become liable over this guy's health. Who advised him to slump? Did he advise someone to slump?
I don't know about that. I don't know. This next one is from Rita Sunshine, who says, how are they feeding them in prison custody? Do they have health centers around the facilities? If you can't take good care of your inmates, don't confine them there. It's not a death sentence. Not impressed.
Okay, F.O. Dorridge says, somebody must have told him that it is the tactics used by Nigerian politicians when they when they are arraigned in court or summoned to a panel. Yeah, we've seen this before. So, but that's not who we are, by the way, please. Let's be clear.
Well, this last one on this thought is from Emmanuel Isijola, I hope. He's still in order in the courtroom. He didn't abscond. There's a standing court order on fainting in the past. It's not violated any standing law.
Okay, let's now move on. Still in the nation's capital, Abuja, where residents have stormed accident scene with buckets, with other things, because apparently this truck, maybe veered off and fell off, and there was enough beer around. So rather than help the company to recover, they resorted to help him themselves to fill their whatever. Okay. Big Sharp says, this is beyond disgraceful, instead of to help them. Okay.
Well, I really do wish we had a video of
I wish you had the video, so
I wish you had
so
a
we can
video.
see this.
Well, this one is from Oxygen of Life. Oxygen spelled in an interesting way. And they say, in a country where there is no proper insurance structure, this is a big loss to the owner of the goods.
Apparently, Ishala Temitayo Precious T5427 is your handle. This is now above hunger. Like the mind settings every one of us is carrying right now, needs to be checked. Okay, like our mind setting. Okay, that's what you meant. Bukola?
And this last one on this subject is from Tony Man, who says, this is International Brewery's truck. Omo na loso, make them drop bottles after drinking it.
Well, if people can run to scoop fuel and PMS.
Even palm oil.
Yeah, talk of beer. This is
beer.
This is like, I wanted to use a phrase, but I remember I was on TV, but it's okay. But I think what people are trying to say is that this is someone's business. It's important we help the people rather than, resort to, increase their loss at the end of the day. But let's say it again that Mohammed Sanusi II is expected at the Kano State government any moment from now to receive his appointment from the governor at about 9 a.m. or so, or thereabout. But as soon as that happens, you can be guaranteed that Channels Television will be there to bring you, because it's a huge development in the Kano Emirates as far as this is concerned. But we'll take a quick break now, get to our conversation for the day. Join us again.
Be right back.
Well, you're welcome back. For those who are asking, can we just see the picture? Not so we can laugh, just so we can appreciate, the importance of what played out in the nation's capital, Abuja, when you saw that truck collapsing. There you go. That's a picture of a truck, and you can see some people helping themselves.
Like straight to business.
Yeah.
This is really amazing and funny. So it's not that they didn't want to get home, so let's get high on the spot.
Yeah.
This is getting high on the spot.
I think
Honestly,
we need to do a study absolutely on the thinking, informing this kind of response to this situation. We know there's hunger in the land, but there's also thirst. I believe maybe this is thirst.
This is not thirst.
This is more like I've been dreaming of this particular brand for a while. Perhaps I didn't have so much money. And Providence brought it to my corner. And before it disappears, let me help myself.
I mean,
but shout out to the women. I can't see any woman in that picture.
Come on, Jeffrey. This is not a gender thing. It's important to state also that people should try and flip the roles. Yeah. Imagine if it were to be your business.
Exactly.
Involved. Would you like someone doing this to your business? This is someone's money. This is someone's employment. It's linked to someone's employment for all you care.
Many families are linked to this business.
It could be someone close to the people actually doing this that would perhaps lose a job or not be able to make sales as a result of this.
I also hope that this is not maybe the owners of the truck saying this one's okay, you just help yourself as well.
Okay.
We have gathered the much we can, the other ones for helping us.
Certainly not.
We don't know the full story.
Absolutely.
Certainly not, because whoever is in charge of this particular vehicle has to give account. But I'd like to believe that this is even an inadequate sample size of what would be a survey. This is not how Nigerians act or behave,
Absolutely.
Generally. I hope. I'm just being optimistic because this is not a good template.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So there's a picture. For those who are asking, that is a picture right there. All right. So let's get into our very first conversation of the day. That's not the first conversation. That's by the way, but let's know what you think. We're taking a look at the big screen this morning. A lot of us love to see our movies. Some sleep while doing it, but largely it's some form of winding down, spending time with loved ones. But there's a whole industry behind that. And for an industry as big as that, regulation is key. So this morning, we're taking a deep dive into what happens behind the scenes, and pun intended here. We have joining us on the show the Director General of the National Film and Video Censors Board, Dr. Shaibu Hussaini. He's live in our Abuja studio. Good morning, Dr. Hussaini. Welcome to the Morning Brief.
Good morning. The pleasure is mine. I'm happy to be here.
Absolutely. Well, the roles of the NFVCB is quite broad and it's clearly stated. One of them regulates, prescribes safety precautions to be observed in licensed premises. It's also give ratings to movies and decide which is good for the audience and what rating it should get. And the list goes on and on. In fact, it also prescribes that you can carry out any function that relates to what is prescribed in the Act. But I'd like to start from what has been making the rounds, a statement you made in Enugu, and it essentially blew up. We've also talked about it on the show, and we thought it's important to bring you to speak to that. And it concerns money ritual, smoking prohibition in Nigerian movies. This was an event that was against smoking, I understand, by Kappa. And you made some comments about the act, or particularly the regulation, and how it prohibits money ritual killing, tobacco products, nicotine product promotion, glamorization, display movies, musical videos, and skits. It's a regulation. So I'd like you to speak to that. Does that mean anybody who's going to shoot any movie must not include that? Because prohibiting means a banning of sorts. What exactly does that regulation say, which should be gazetted in the coming days?
All right. Thank you so much for having me in your studios to at least make some clarifications. We had an event in Enugu, and the event was, our campaign to get the filmmakers buy into the fact that we are aligning globally to the campaign for a smoke-free society. And we believe that as people who shape what people see and begin to imitate, that we should take some responsibilities as filmmakers, as media workers, to see how we can support the global effort to have a healthy screen and indeed a smoke-free screen. And I can't remember where I mentioned at that conference that we were banning smoking scenes and ritual scenes in movies. The implication of that headline that I saw upon arrival in Abuja is the fact that any film with smoking scene does not work. But that's not what the regulation says. There are films that require that you need to depict smoking for the narrative, for you to be able to tell the narrative. I mean, how can you have a club scene and there will be no smoking? But globally, there are efforts to find creative ways of doing all that. Our concern is not really about, and then the regulation says that if you have to depict smoking and if you have to depict any other thing in your film, there must be a warning, and that's global. There must be a warning on the screen saying that those who in these photos are just imitating life and that smokers are liable to die young. You must have that required health warning as prescribed by the Federal Ministry of Health. Don't forget that we have in place the National Tobacco Control Act in place 2019. And the act just says that because there is a total ban on advertising on television and other media, they are going behind now to use films as an avenue to promote and glamorize smoking, ritual killing, and all that. So we are more concerned about, the promotion of smoking in films and the glamorization. We didn't ban. I'm an artist, I'm a performer, and I know that I've taken part in places and films where I'm giving a role where I have to smoke. And what is happening globally now is that even actors internationally, they use dummy cigarettes. They use cigarettes, they call it fake props, to depict those characters. And that's because of the global concern about how, we depict, how we glamorize and promote smoking that has been banned totally abroad. So I didn't use the word ban smoking scenes. How can you ban a smoking? You mean that in a film?
I know that you've also had to put something out on your social media to clarify that. But help us understand the regulation of 2004, I believe. It says prohibit. And from my English knowledge,
2024 is
2024 rather. From my knowledge of English, prohibit means forbidden, banned. So if the regulation says it's for the prohibition of ritual killing, smoking, glamorization in movies, skits, and the rest, the word is prohibit and it means ban. So what exactly is the law, the regulation then trying to say? Because when you hear prohibit, what comes to mind is ban, and you actually use those words as well.
That's how the regulation is coined. But as a regulator, what we do as a regulator, our responsibility is to ensure that if you make such kind of films, what we do is to classify the film. So if you smoke in your film and you need to have those warnings, those required head warnings, we will give you the rating that somebody under 18 cannot see. Right. Even in Hollywood, they resolved by themselves to ensure that films that are like youth-related films, they don't indulge in smoking in the films. We're not banning like smoking scenes in films. That's the headline that was everywhere. We're not banning smoking scenes in film. We are in the board, we have artists, we have people who are performers. They know that there are some necessary scenes that are necessary to depict smoking for historical accuracy, for educational purpose, and to portray negative lifestyle. We know that one for sure. But we are saying that going forward with this regulation, you need to put a warning either at the beginning of the film, during the scene, especially if it's a scene where there's heavy smoking, we need to do that. And then the other thing that we don't want to see in the film, but even if you do it, we will just classify it and ensure that nobody sees it, is this open advertising of tobacco in our films. For instance, somebody is doing a movie, and then there's a young lady, and we're told in the narrative that the young lady is a year one student in the university. So she should be about 17, 18. The lady comes back home, she's jilted by her boyfriend. In the film, the filmmaker is not so responsible to know that there are other ways you can depict getting out of depression. But this filmmaker, and I've seen a film like this even before I became executive director of the census board, if the lady comes home, picks up a pack of cigarettes, shows us the brand that she wants to take, picks about 12 sticks, and they show us all the 12 as she's puffing. And then on the tray, there's about 7 sticks she has taken previously, just because she wants to get out of depression. I mean, that's glamorization of tobacco. That's what we're talking about. But we are not even going to say, okay, don't depict that. We're just looking for them to be a bit responsible in what they do. We are concerned about the future of the young ones who watch this content and think that the only way to get out of depression is to smoke.
Okay, let's take it further.
So we give it the right rating that it deserves.
All right, let's do a bit of a citation of how this is framed. It's an act to, among other things, establish the National Film Video Censors Board to regulate the censorship and public exhibition of films and video works and matters connected therewith. I read it through to ask the question about what's your team or agencies doing to regulate some of the things we see, especially on the social media, because this is public exhibition, if you will, not necessarily a cinema, but this is out there in the public. And it's been a challenge for some of these unregulated spaces, even the financial spaces like the cryptocurrency. So what efforts are you making, given the exposure? Because there are age brackets. They may not necessarily put all those indicators that you talked about, maybe when it's shown on TV and cinemas, but this time is open space. What are you doing?
Okay, upon my assumption of office in March, I started some engagement. I started a series of engagements with the online platform owners, especially those who just make their films and then go online, and skit makers who just go online. And our engagement have gotten to a point where if you don't classify your content, you can't upload them on those platforms. So we are going into a regime of regulating content on online platform. And what I assured stakeholders when I took over was that we have gone past the era of censorship. We are now in the era of classification. Bring your film, let's look at it, and then let's give it the rating that it deserves. The burden that places on us as an agency is that we need to do more. And in fact, I started from day one of my assumption of office to ensure that we enhance our media literacy drive. Because once you have an educated viewing public, they know that if they see our rating, like G, they say that it's for general viewing. If they see 18, they know that it is for only somebody who is from 18 above and all that. So we have agreed with the platform owners, that look, if anybody wants to upload the content there, then you must have a classification. You must have a classification. And the other thing that we're doing, engaging with stakeholders, because we just had one in Enugu, and we are meeting the stakeholders because this thing is a matter of responsibility, taking responsibility. You don't just because there's freedom of creation, you don't just put a work of art, there, and you know that this thing is very injurious, this thing is something that somebody can pick up, and there's no education, there's no enlightenment, there's no repercussion for somebody who does that. I just saw one recently. A guy sent his 7-year-old child to go and buy him cigarettes from a kiosk owner. And he said, tell the kiosk owner to light the cigarette for me. The kiosk owner did lit the cigarette. And by the time he was coming back, he now went to a corner and dragged the cigarette. A 7-year-old child in a movie, just because you want to make fun. And after dragging, he just came out and he now called him, Ben, where are you? He said, I'm coming. And by the time he came back, the guy saw that he had dragged it to a point where he would say, from here to here, this thing has reduced. And the guy said, okay, let's go and meet the man. The funny thing all about that skit. It was when he was chasing the boy and he fell down on the ground. That's the end of the skit. What is the story? Why are you teaching with those kind of skits? So we have engaged from TikTok to Netflix to YouTube. We have engaged. I was in Lagos recently and I had a forum with them. And I said, look, we must classify those contents for the sake of our viewing public. Some of them are not so literate to know that. I mean, I was sitting down one day and my daughter opened up an account, a YouTube account. And I mean, she was watching YouTube. And then she saw a content. I also saw the content and I felt that, oh, this content is okay for her. But in the middle of the content, young people were dragging what they call shisha or something. They were, and she said, Daddy, what are they doing there? Are they, there was something she said, and I said, no, this is wrong. And then we got it off. And then we now got to that, we now blocked that particular channel. So I even told the platform owners that we at the Census Board must have a deck where we must report contents that we consider not fit for people to watch. So, and they have agreed to comply.
So just a quick follow-up, how much of compliance do they do? Because I know that in the Act it says that for any person to distribute or exhibit a film or video work, it has to be registered with the board. I mean, how much of compliance have you seen in that direction, especially for content creators?
Okay, we are going into a regime of extending our net, so to speak, our censorship or classification net, to include skit makers and to include music videos. So, but we are building up the infrastructure to contain that. And we are going to have an announcement as soon as we get this regulation gazetted. We are going to have an announcement to say that from this time, you cannot put up a film online anywhere without classification by the National Film and Video Censors Board. You know, the time we are is the time when you really need to engage with the stakeholders so that they can have a buy-in. That was why I have been going from forum to forum, and I'm going to have another one in the north and another one in the southwest so that we can engage them. This thing calls for a lot of responsibility on our part as filmmakers. I didn't come to the board to begin to drag stakeholders to court or to begin to prosecute stakeholders. I came to the board so that we can together see how we can build a healthy screen, and together we can build an industry where our products will speak for us. In fact, what they don't know is that some of their content limit the kind of revenue that they get, because there are some territories where they don't watch our content because they will you open it and they'll say this content cannot be seen in this territory because of this and that. So why do you want to make a film, that have, things that people don't want to see? I mean, this is a country where people are still making, although this one is a personal observation. How do you make a film where you bring a young lady into the room? You were supposed to stay with a young lady and then you now drug her. The next thing, you cut off her head and then dollars start coming out of her head. Where does that one happen? What are you trying to tell somebody who is watching? You are telling the young person who is watching that it's possible to actually go get someone, cut the person's head, and then money will just start coming out. I mean, and the thing about most of what they show is that the consequences is not as much as what they do. For instance, somebody has killed over 7 people and then made a lot of money, becomes a community leader. And then what you have as consequence at the end is that the man gets mad at the end and is running everywhere and is eating from the dustbin. And then you say, to God be the glory. What kind of consequences is that? So there's a lot that is happening, but we are going into that regime where we will spread our net and ensure that we classify 5 films that go online, and we also classify films, content such as music videos as well as skits. The law gives us that power.
Well, for those who align with the board, they would say that, this is in the right direction, because what you give expression to, even though it's in a form of condemnation, sort of gives oxygen to that, that attitude to life or culture or whatever the case may be. But the reservation that they have at the same time is that, look, this is not the first time that the NFVCB is placing a ban or a restriction or a prohibition on such content. That has been done earlier on, perhaps in the early 2000s, when there was a big concern of increasing ritual content in Nigerian films and Nollywood movies, and that this will soon thin out because it's just the NFVCB blowing hot, and there wouldn't be follow-up. What would you say to that?
There will be follow-up. I mean, it's a policy, it's a regulation, so there will be follow-up. It will not thin out, we will not stop. The thing is that you can do a ritual scene that does not involve, I mean, if a film demands that, okay, if you are doing a film on Yemoja, for instance, and then you have the normal rite of passage and all that, you do all those stuff that they do and all that. But what we are concerned about is this thing about ritual killing and money ritual. It's dragging a lot of our young ones. We are telling you to be responsible when you are depicting these things. I saw some people on television recently, I think on channels also, some people that were caught, selling body parts. And how much are they selling those body? It's because of the impression that once you kill someone, you can be able to make money. So this regulation has come to stay, especially as per ritual killing and the rest. So it has come to stay. The only thing that we can permit ritual killing for is if it is for historical accuracy. Like you are doing a documentary or you are doing something and you refer to the past and then you said, oh, something like this happened. It's for historical accuracy. Otherwise, I don't see why we should be showing those kind of things, images and all that for the young ones. That's why they are thinking that it's easy to make money. So we are going to be, it's not going to thin out. I can promise you that. Even if I'm not in office after my tenure, it's going to continue because it's a regulation, it's a policy. So it's not going to thin out at all. And this is not about how much money we are going to make from classification. It's about the future of our young ones. It's about the future of our viewing, of our teens that are coming up. I have children, I have people who watch and they imitate what they see. Research has shown that what they see, they try to act out. And we must make sure that we have a healthy screen. That's where I'm going, really. I'm not there to ban. There's nothing like banning. I didn't say ban smoking scenes because that's what is causing the controversy and public alarm. A movie can have a smoking scene, no doubt. But if you must have a smoking scene, there must be a warning, health warning as required by the Federal Ministry of Health on the scene where that smoking is taking place, and then before the film and at the end of the film. There are Hollywood films that we see. They put the warning sign there permanently on the screen. Violence, nudity, strong language and all that. So why are we not doing it here?
And it is the expectation that, we won't have to ask you this maybe after your tenure as the DG of the board. But let me quickly follow up on what you said about expanding your regulation to other content providers, particularly music videos, that show online and, on other social media platforms, especially YouTube. I wonder if it has come to the notice of the board certain music videos by artists that feature them wearing, robes or of priests in the Christian faith, or depicting, conduct in the mosques of the Muslim faith that often draw the ire of practitioners of that faith. Some in recent times, got a lot of people talking on social media. What's the response of the board to this in terms of regulation? You say that you're expanding your regulation to include all of those. Will the board be going after such content that is seen as offensive to the practitioners of both faiths?
Certainly we will do that. In fact, we have received a number of complaints. I got one on assumption of office from a religious sect. They wrote me a letter informing me that there's a movie that is being done that is just trying to put down their faith. We carried out an investigation. We saw the promo. We quickly wrote to the filmmaker to ensure that that movie does not see the light of the day. There's another one we were even reaching from the United States. It's a religious sect, a movement, and all that. But you see, and we got very quickly to the platform providers, and then we told them to bring down the content, that the content is injurious to that sect, and then they did that. So we are going to follow that. We are going to be strong on that. We are going to enhance our monitoring capacity. I mean, presently we have 6 zonal offices and 26 state centers, and we are planning to expand those centers so that we can be able to monitor, so that we can be able to monitor those content and just call the attention of the platform owners and then bring it down. But it still boils down to the issue of responsibility. I mean, I have written and I'm asking for a meeting actually with the music video producers. We need to sit down and talk. Some of those films really do not need all those trying to maybe divide the country, try to abuse religious sensibilities and the rest. You can make your films very decently, and you can make your music videos very decently, and then you do. But of course, they will now say that we are moral police, but we are not the moral. I mean, this is not about being a moral police,
right,
but this is about getting them to be slightly responsible from what they see. But again, when we get to that regime, we will classify the content according to the rating. And the thing about classification is that if you get a very high classification, your movie will be limited, even in cinemas, even online. It will be limited, especially for people who know about our classification symbols.
Now, the question as well is how much of, let's say, resources do you have at your disposal, from the technology to the people? What we have now, we have streaming platforms across board. How much of censorship do they get? Because Nigerians sit here and they're accessing thousands of movies, and I doubt if the board has even gone through 10% of those movies that Nigerians have access to be able to say, okay, this should be rated this way, regardless of where it's coming from. You know, it's one thing to be rated where it was produced, another thing to be rated here in Nigeria, where we have our own values and our laws. So I'm curious, really, because there's a lot of work for you to do. Netflix, Prime, Hulu, Apple, all of them is quite a lot. So I don't know if you really have the capability to go through all of that. And people are also asking on the flip side, this is sort of double-edged, when you say that there will be regulation for skits, does it mean for everybody who puts out any video online, even people who just, you know, turn on their ring light, as they always say, turn a selfie on and do a video and put it online, they have to submit the video rather, sometimes 60 seconds, 30 seconds, for some sort of rating? Is that what it means as well? I know there are two questions, double-edged.
Oh, no.
But Dr. Seni, you understand?
Yes. I will answer those ones, but I will answer that one quickly. But I like this last question that you asked. We are in the board. If you are having if you have a content that is 0 to 5 minutes and it's fiction, and it's dramatized, you have actors, you have you have characters, you have a set, you have costumes, and you use everything that you use to realize a skit, you will have to classify that skit. If it is the one that I just do, maybe I just do on a personal level, I have a ring light and I just do for a few seconds. But it's saying that if you have 0 to 5 minutes, 5 minutes to 40 minutes, which is the duration for a short film, and then 40 minutes above, which is the duration, you have to classify your film. So it's for dramatized contents that you got together, have characters, have costumes. You have a short. In fact, it's a short content. That's what we call it. But they call it skit. Well, it's a short content. You have to classify it. And we are building a platform. That's why I said I just came into office in March, and I'm trying to see how we can accommodate everyone. And in fact, one of the things that we're doing with the support of the Honorable Minister is to move censorship from the analog stage that it is now to the digital stage. And I committed to them when I met these skit makers, especially those who are on YouTube. I told them that, look, if you submit your content by the time we roll out our digital platform, if you submit your content by 9 o'clock in the morning, since it's a short content, you get your classification by by 12 o'clock. That's what I...
Oh dear. Well, we'll try to reconnect with Dr. Hosseini. And these are very important points to really clarify, because we know how big this kit industry is in Nigeria. There's also costs attached to getting the censoring, or to getting the ratings, by the way, depending on the duration. So will the skit makers be paying from time to time if you have to churn out maybe 10 contents in a week or thereabouts? It's important to get those clarifications. But as far as we've come, Dr. Shoaib Hussein, DG of National Film and Video Censors Board, has been able to provide some clarity. Still expecting to get some more on the streaming platform, guys, because streaming platforms are a big deal.
They're huge. And, there's also the concern about the free-for-all importation of foreign movies into Nigeria now. And is there space for healthy competition for the Nigerian, movie practitioners, i.e. executive producers, producers, directors? So how does the board provide intervention such that foreign movies do not overshadow or take all of the share of the Nigerian market? So it's another important area to explore as well. I hope that we have Dr. Hosseini back to respond to that. And also other concerns about how, and he expressed this, recently at an event, I believe in Nigeria's Southeast, where he talked about how practitioners, executive producers, check, game the system, so to speak. They try to avoid regulation. So how does the board rein in on all of that? It appears as if we do not have Dr. Hosseini back, but we thank him for his time, for the clarity that he has provided to some of these issues. When we return, it will be time to talk about your pension. What happens to your pension during your active years? How can you also, develop another retirement savings plan apart from your pension, such that you are taking care of your tomorrow today? Let's have that conversation after this break. Stay with the Morning Brief. We'll be right back.
Let's get talking with the issue of pensions, and we're being joined by the CEO of Pension Fund Operators Association of Nigeria, Mr. Oguche Aguda. He joins us via Zoom. Thank you so much for coming on the program, Mr. Aguda.
Thank you. Good morning.
We've been on this for quite a while, so you will help us make sense of the situation even more today. I'm sure you saw that video of retired police officers protesting at the complex of the National Assembly. And their grievance is the fact that they've not been paid for several months, including their gratuities, and they're even asking that they be removed from PENCOM. From an administrator's point of view, what do you think played out? Why did it get to that point that our officers who served our country had to, come publicly to demand for what is rightfully theirs?
Yeah, so thank you. I think the first thing is we empathize with the police pensioners and with all pensioners, right? But it's to actually put the issues in the right perspective, right? So the pensioners under the contributory pension scheme, right, they get paid their pensions, right? So when people say they haven't received their pensions under the contributory pension scheme, it's not right. So if you see some of the comments that some of them made, they said they get some amounts of money that might not be much, but they get it every month. So we need to dimension the issue. So under the contributory pension scheme, you will get your pensions regularly. You will get your pensions on a monthly basis. And most of the complaints are not that they're not getting their pension. So that's one area to look at. So they can now talk about perhaps it's not enough. That's another issue. But I think it's to situate the issues to say that first and foremost, they are getting their pensions regularly. And that is a stark departure from how it was in the past, whereby when it was under the defined benefit scheme, whereby it was the government that was handling the pensions. Sometimes you don't get your pension. You see pensions delayed for many months. So I think, we need to dimension the issues. The other issue is some of the pensioners who perhaps might have retired before 2004 under the previous scheme might not have gotten paid what we call accrued rights, which is the rights that they had whilst they were working under the previous scheme. And it is the government that pays that. So that might have been delayed, and that could have been the issue that caused the issue. But generally, what we say is that if you're under the contributory pension scheme, it's a funded scheme. It is your salary is deducted, and your employer pays a portion. And when you retire, that money is consolidated, and you get paid. So for most of them, they are getting paid. I think we need to dimension the issues.
So, Mr. Aguda, is it possible that some of them had not retired before the new Pension Act of 2004 and had been under the defined benefit scheme partly and under the contributory pension scheme partly, and there seems to be some discrepancy there, and they're entitled to some rights on both sides?
Yes, you're very correct. So there are some of them who have retired and they have rights under the previous scheme, and some of those rights have not been paid, right? And because of that, their pensions are little. They are collecting their pensions, but it's little. Some of them, because they are also under the previous scheme, they might not have received because, we cannot pay their pensions under the contributory pension scheme if their rights are not consolidated. There has to be a consolidation. So in their accounts, their contributions are in their accounts. So all of them are under the contributory pension scheme. They will see their accounts. They will see their contributions because the scheme is very transparent. They will see it. What now needs to happen is for the government to pay their previous rights before they can repay their pensions. But I'm aware that even the police pension scheme, when their rights are being delayed, I'm aware that they have sort of a welfare scheme where they pay people until the government pays their rights. So I hope that answers your question or tries to put it in perspective.
Right. So I want to take it to something that has been a major source of concern for Nigerians. And it started off last week, right, with the conversation in FEC around how, the pension savings can be tapped into for infrastructure investment and the rest. And naturally, that triggers a lot of people because they always imagine their pension as something that should be untouchable. Because I don't want to hear stories after I've retired and you're telling me something is happening. No, this is my hard-earned money. So give us a framework. How does it work? How much can be touched? Essentially, what can it be used for? What happens to the returns? Would I get some appreciation on my pension as well? So I'd like you to give us a framework, because the Minister of Finance had to say, well, there are regulations and all, but you know that people still have that trust deficit.
Yeah, thanks. So we also got a number of phone calls, emails from concerned Nigerians. And I think, it's good that people are watching. So what we always advise is, don't engage with your PFA or your pension when you retire. So you get your account statements every month, you get your alerts. So continue to engage. And we are happy that people are engaging. So people said, well, I hope my pension funds are safe. So I think the first thing is we want to assure and reassure the more than 10 million contributors that their pension funds are safe. They are right now. All the licensed pension operators in Nigeria collectively manage about 19.6 trillion in March 2004, right? And those pension funds are invested. And they're actually invested in line with the Pension Reform Act and the investment guidelines issued by the National Pension Commission, PENCOM. So those guidelines determine how the pension funds can invest. So as an industry and as pension funds, we are not averse to investing in infrastructure. As a matter of fact, some independent research has said that the pension funds have invested in more than 2 trillion in infrastructure through various means, whether it's bond issued by state governments, which are listed on SEC-regulated exchanges, or bonds issued by the federal government, which are listed on SEC regulated exchanges, or bonds issued by companies, or infrastructure bonds, or infrastructure funds. So that has happened over the years. What happens is that each of the pension funds, there are about 19 pension funds, each of them has their investment guidelines, and they invest according to their investment guidelines. But it has to be in line with the framework issued by the National Pension Commission. And as pension fund managers, our first responsibility, we have a fiduciary responsibility to the asset owners who are the contributors. And that fiduciary responsibility is to ensure that when they do retire, they have their funds, and we've given them competitive returns. And we've tried to do that over the last number of years. The last 20 years since the CPS came, we've shown that we've been able to grow those assets. As a matter of fact, the actual contributions in pension assets is just about 10 trillion as of March. That is how much people invest. But through the efforts of the pension fund and the investment activities, you can see that it has grown to about 19.6 trillion as of March. Within that period also, over the last 17 years, the industry has paid out about 3 trillion naira to 500,000 individuals, whether it's retirees, whether death benefits, whether it's through people that want to do program withdrawals or annuities. So what happens is that the individual pension funds will make their decisions on how they want to invest based on their individual investment criteria, but based on the investment guidelines that PENCOM issues and in line with the Pension Reform Act. So that's the process by which investment goes. And like I said, we have a fiduciary responsibility to ensure safety, to ensure profitability, decent returns, and that when the individuals retire, they do get their funds. And we've been doing that over the last number of years, and I don't think it will change.
Let me quickly follow up on that. You know, this has been reoccurring. The last time we had you on the program, you assured that plans by government to access money from pension funds should be nothing to worry about. But the Minister of Finance is speaking yet again, and in reaction to that announcement that the government was planning to unlock 20 trillion naira to fund infrastructure, would not be done illegally. So if he says it won't be done illegally in reaction to the groundswell of opposition to that move, it will be done anyway, even if it will not be done illegally. So what does he mean by it will not be done illegally? And what are the long-term implications of the federal government accessing a whopping 20 trillion naira in the long term on, the account owners of this retirement savings account who would want to access their funds? What are the guarantees that their funds would be safe by the time they're old and they need them?
So I'll speak for the pension funds. I won't speak for the minister. He can't speak for himself. But what I want to say from our own point of view, successive governments, the CPS started in 2004. And since then, we've engaged with successive governments, successive issuers. Even as at today, for each pension fund, there are always people trying to say, do you want to invest in this? Do you want to invest in this? But each pension fund manager has their own investment criteria, has their investment guidelines, they have their risk management team, and they will determine whether they want to invest. Right? They will determine how they invest, all within the guidelines. And that continues to happen, whether it's governments engaging us, whether it's private sector, whether it's international bodies. So we continue to invest. If you see the assets splits for the pension funds as at today, about 65% invested in government bonds, about 12% invested on the stock market, about 11% invested in money market, another 11% invested in corporate debt. So pension funds will determine how they invest, So if the government has structures that they want pension funds to look into, pension funds are always open. We've always been open, and we will dissect it, we'll analyze it. I mean, it's the work they do. Every day, the pension funds are working with their analysts, with their investment teams, with their investment heads, to see how does this investment look on a case-by-case basis. They are faced with so many investments, so they need to determine and decide. And that's why it's very important that we move pension fund management to private sector managers who are dedicated and professional. Some groups want us to move it back to the public sector, but with a private sector fund manager, and which is the system that we run in Nigeria now, it depends. The individual has to be convinced that, number one, this investment is safe. Number two, it is profitable. And number three, it is liquid. Because at some point, people will retire and want to get funds. So I need to be able to sell on time. So there'll be a portion that I will say I'm investing in infrastructure for long term. There'll be a portion I'll invest in liquid assets. So I think the issue in my opinion, is a storm in a teacup, because what we need to do is to ensure that the system and the structure is safe, is transparent, and that's what has happened. And I'll go back and applaud the people that set up the 2004 Pension Reform Act, because in there, it has all the guidelines, and the National Pension Commission, who have done a great job in regulating the system. So anyone that wants to access the pension funds, it's fine, but you need to go through the hurdles, need to convince the people about safety, profitability, liquidity. That's very important. And the pension funds have done that over the years, and I think that will continue to happen.
All right, Mr. Aguda, let's explore further. You've mentioned what I'm about to ask in passing, but I want you to break it down to the barest minimum, to someone who is not quite literate or who doesn't understand so much of the technicalities of how these things work, because we have different heritages in terms of educational and economic heritages. But all of these people, one way or the other, contribute to the pension fund. And at the end of the day, all they want to see is that they want to access their money. So maybe in a layman's term, help us explain some of the legislative firewalls to protect and even process these pension funds. Because when they finish serving, like you see some of them, all they want is their money.
Okay, so I think the first thing is that, the law says that your pension funds cannot be attached to any debt. So even you as an individual, if you are owing somebody and you're retired, they cannot attach those pension funds. So the pension funds are ring-fenced. That's number one. Number two, they are not taxed. So the contributions you are making into the pension funds, tax deductible. So you already get an upside. Number four is that everybody has an individual retirement savings account. So when you open your pension account, you can see your individual retirement savings accounts. And then the pension fund administrators, they determine how the pension funds are invested. So when they get to work every morning, they'll look at various options. Okay, do I invest X% of my pension funds in government bond because it's paying 20-something%? Do I place it with the bank because I can get 23%? Or do I place it in a corporate bond because I can get 18%? So they'll make that decision. And there is a process for every pension funds. They have an investment committee, they have a risk management committee, and PENCOM does a job of ensuring that there's spot checks, there are annual checks, there are always checks. As a matter of fact, yesterday we had meetings with PENCOM and they showed us the risk ratings of pension funds. So the National Pension Commission, as a regulator, ensure that is very well managed. So the pension fund custodians, on the other hand, are the ones that have access to the money. The pension fund administrators who decide how it's invested, they don't have access to the money. The pension fund custodian, and there are three of them, and they're subsidiaries of the three largest banks in Nigeria. First Pension Custodian, UBA Pension Custodian, and Zenith Pension Custodian. So those assets are segregated. Go ahead.
So without trying to put you on the spot, one of the calls they made that day is the fact that they want to be removed from PENCOM. Is that a valid call in your assessment?
Yes. So again, like you said, different people at various levels of understanding. So even saying what's going for PENCOM is also a misunderstanding because PENCOM does not manage the funds, right? So what they want in layman's terms is that they want to go back to the public sector managed pension system, which is not funded. And I'll give an analogy, right? Imagine you have 5 children and all the children are going to school and the school is decent, they're going to school. And one of the child comes to say, you know what? I don't like the school I'm going to. I want to go abroad. I want to go to a better school. And then the dad has to make a call. If I take this child abroad, the 4 children might not go to school. So do I, just because this one has agitated and said, I want to go to another school, I increase the school fees for him and the others don't go to school? So what they are asking for is for them to be moved out of the contributory pension scheme and go back to the defined benefit scheme, whereby all their pensions is managed by the government. In order for that to happen, the government needs to set aside at least 3 trillion naira today to ensure that they will be able to meet that obligation. And we can see the NLC is fighting on labor, on minimum wage. Health workers are fighting, university workers are fighting. So the government has to make a call. Can I take a set of people out and ensure that their pensions are paid from budgetary allocations every year? Meanwhile, others are left to fend for themselves. But the government has years back tried to set a system whereby contribution. You are contributing every month, and then when you retire, those monies, in addition to the returns, will begin to pay your pensions. I think the issue really. Yes, go ahead.
You can land at that point. You think the issue?
Good. So the issue really is that anywhere in the world and under any pension scheme, if your salary is not much, your pensions will not be much. Expect, when you are working, your salary is not much, and the pensions to be much. For the police, a number of them, their salaries are not much, and I know that the government is doing a lot to improve their welfare. So what needs to happen? Number one, the salaries go up, and there have been various recommendations by PENCOM and the industry in what needs to be done. One of the things that could be done is perhaps the 8% that they pay on a monthly basis should be funded by the government. Right? Or when they retire, the government can take care of their gratuity. So, but taking them out of the scheme is taking us back to the dark days where pensions were managed. Public sector, it was opaque, it was prone to corruption, prone to fraud, not transparent, and then not funded.
Well, Mr.
Right now, the problem is I receive my pensions every month. Yes, go ahead.
Yeah, and it takes me to the point. You talked about how this was sort of revolutionary, and a lot of people will attest to that. But almost 2 decades down the line now, we're faced with two major challenges, and I'd like you to speak to them. On the one hand is the value of what you saved vis-a-vis what you will now collect when you've retired. So imagine you were saving, or there was a deductions 10% and 8% cross board when the naira to dollar was 250. Let's even say it's 600 naira. And then you retire at a time where naira to dollar is 1,500 naira. Or you were saving when a crate of egg was 600 naira. A crate of egg now, I've not gone to the market in a while. Bukola, help me out here.
3,800 naira.
There you go, 3,800 naira. And imagine how much, what value it will be then. So that's a major concern. How viable is it really? Because you just realize that your value is much lesser than it was when you were saving, regardless of the returns you will get. I know there will be returns, but in spite of that. On the flip side is what you even find to be the worst situation. Some employers are not even remitting at this point. The 10% they're meant to remit, they're not even remitting, and the employees do not know because they don't even get the alerts monthly. Sometimes it doesn't come, so they just think, okay, it's just network issues. So those are the two issues that are concerning workers, Mr. Aguda. I don't know if you can speak to them.
No, thanks a lot. Bukola, I think my wife told me eggs were 4,000. I don't know whether she was lying. You said
maybe Bukola knows how to price eggs well.
But you mentioned two germane issues, and like you said, 20 years ago there was a revolution with the pension system whereby it was moved to the private sector. But life is about constant improvement, and those two issues are very key and germane. You're very correct in terms of the value of the assets when you retire. And so, like I said, number one, the pension contributions over the last 17 years has been about 10 trillion, and the pension funds have grown it to about 19 trillion through their investment activities. What now needs to happen is how can we insulate against devaluation? We operate in this country, and as of today, we cannot invest offshore, right, as an industry. And there's a lot of engagements with the central bank, with the government on getting a portion of that invested. And there are still conversations, and that's ongoing on the one hand. On the other hand, we continue to look for ways by which we can increase returns locally through investing in alternatives or other assets, or talking to the various exchanges to see how we can get other instruments so that when people retire, they can get decent returns. So like I said, that's the job of the pension funds. Every day, they are looking, how can I invest better? How can I get better deals for the retirement savings account holders? How can I get more returns? So that engagement will continue to happen, and we're continuing to see whether it's locally, whether it's offshore, instrument structures to continue to, and I always say PSL, profitability, safety, liquidity. So that's one area that engagement's happening. The second area on, employers not remitting, right? So there's a carrot and a stick approach, and PENCOM has done a fantastic job. Over the last 10 years, they've recovered about 25 billion from employers who have not paid pensions, right? So they'll start with sending recovery agents there, and when they pay, they'll pay including a penalty. Sometimes they take them to court. So that is happening, and we'll continue to do that. But what we encourage people to do is to whistleblow. If you're working somewhere and your employer is not remitting, you whistleblow the commission. If you go to National Pension Commission's website, you'll see how you can report, you can just whistleblow, and then they'll come and recovery agents for your employer. And for employers, we are also encouraging them to make those contributions because there's a benefit for them. And I always say it doesn't make sense if, as an employer, you're not remitting for your pensions for your employees, because that just means you just want to stay small. Because if you want to access the capital markets, if you want to grow internationally, you will need your pension compliance certificates. If you want to access government contracts. So for you, it makes sense. And if you want to even attract staff who are loyal, who are good staff, you need to pay your pension. So the carrot and the stick approach, PenCom and the industry is doing quite a lot in ensuring that we go after those that are not paying. But also, we're also encouraging employees to whistleblow and encouraging employers to say it's in your best interest to pay your pensions. We'll always continue to strive to make the pension system better, but I hope this has tried to answer your questions.
All right, Mr. Aguda, some of us have met, small businesses who are interested in just having corporate culture early in their businesses. They may not be conglomerates or consortium, but the basics, they just started from wherever they can, but they want to begin to have that strong corporate culture. And the question will be for them is, how can they, maybe a staff of 3, 4, on board some of these staff, and what is needed for them, basically, just like asking the tax question as well, but this time pension for staff?
Yeah, you're very correct. So if you employ more than 3 people, the law says you must get on the pension plan, right? And the first thing is to contact a PFA. So the PFAs also will consult. They can consult and let you know, okay, this is the number of staff you have, and this is how much you pay. So you determine how much you pay your staff salaries. You determine how much you pay in their pensions, depending on, based on 8%. So the PFA will not impose on you, or the industry doesn't impose on you to pay X amount. The 8% is based on salary. So you have determined, based on my cash flow, this is how much I can afford. This is how much I'm going to pay them, and this is how much pension. So it's an engagement. So you determine how. So I'd like to encourage small businesses to get on the train, to engage PFAs, consult with them, and then begin to remit on a constant basis in line with your cash flow, right? Nobody is going to ask you to pay more than what you have. But it just means that, if you want to grow bigger, if you're thinking, like you said, putting corporate governance in place and making your organization an organization that attracts the right kind of staff, then you need to put these things in place, and it's within your cash flow. So I want to encourage small businesses within your cash flow. I think we're actually doing a podcast actually on this. If you go to our website, you'll see a podcast where it talks about small businesses and pension funds and a lot of this education. So I'd like to encourage people to go to our website and see a lot of the educational series we're doing.
Almost, thank you so much for your insight, as always, on this particular subject matter. Whenever we call on you, Mr. Oguche Aguja, the CEO of Pension Fund Operators Association of Nigeria, for coming through. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Nice talking to you always.
All right, it's Friday, like they say, Fun Friday. So let's get to the other part of the program where we so if you have, what do you call it? Is it sneakers now? Canvas? Tennis. As Bukola would say. Whatever footwear that makes you fit and flexible, you get it on, because it's time to get it boogie, right? Is that correct on TV? I don't know what that means.
Do you want to say boogie?
You would know that Jeffrey doesn't exercise.
No, I used to exercise a lot, by the way. I used to do bodybuilding. Don't mind this shit. I had to stop. For real. Yeah, when I was younger. We'll go on this quick break. We'll come back. Join us again.
Okay. Now I need you to lift your waistline up. Hold it up there for 10 counts. 10 seconds. 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and take it down. I need you to bring your weight towards your chest and hold it there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Good. 7, 8, 9. Well done. I need you to take your legs up and hold behind with your knees and bring your heads up. Just hold it there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Well done. Now drop your legs down Relax your head, bring your waistline up, and hold it there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and take it down. Now I need you to turn sideways. Turn sideways. Good. Well done. Beautiful. Now you need to work your core. Those low handles, let's burn them up. Okay? Now you're going to stretch your legs out, place your arms in front of you, while your other arm is right there. Okay? Place your arms this way. I need you to squeeze your knees up. Your knees is almost touching behind of your shoulders, okay? And then you just stretch it out that way. Are you ready? Let's go for just 10 counts. Let's go. 1 and out. 2 and out. 3. Go. 4. And let's go. 5. Beautiful. 6. Beautiful. 7. Keep moving. You're doing so well. 8. You can do it. No pain, no gain. 9. Just one more. And that's it. You killed it. Now take your legs down and relax it. That was very good. Now I need to work the core of your oblique muscles. The oblique muscles of your abdominals, let's tone them up. Okay, I need you to do a side planking. So you flex your legs out a bit, get a comfortable position, place your arms there. I need you to lift your body up and hold it there for 10, 9, 8. If you can shake within 5, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and down. Now it's good. Beautiful. Well done. Now we're going to change to the other side. I need you to change positions, okay? Lie sideways. That was very good. While working the core of your love handles, I need you to place your arms in front of you. Stretch your legs out, and then you pull it in, almost touching your shoulders. And out. 2, and out. 3, and out. 4, and out. 5. Let's go. 6. And now you're doing time. 7. Let's go.
So, how far have you gone in your fitness journey this year? You know, it's May already and we're approaching the middle of the year. Have you given up? Don't give up. And we're here to give you motivation with stick aerobics this morning. And Coach Beauty Musa joins us again. It's good to see you. Yeah. We didn't miss you, by the way, but we're...
I missed everybody. I missed everybody.
Before we get into the drill, we have our sticks on the floor.
Yeah.
Tell us, what is the objective of this additional tool for aerobics?
Okay. They always say variety is the spice of life.
Right.
Now, we've been doing some movements and some movements. I don't want to bore people into doing one regular thing. So it's not easy to allow ask people to work out and sweat. So you have to bring in fun. You have to bring in variety. Aside from working your core, the stick is a support system to help us tone your core while you're working on flexibility and then toning that abdominal areas. Yeah. Okay.
That's tummy trim.
Tummy trim, total body core, cardios, flexibility.
Bukola would like
everything.
that. That's why I asked this.
So there are different drills to it, Abi.
Yes.
We use it for the the limbs.
Yeah, it's a general workout actually. Like what we are doing today, I've actually planned a total body workout using these sticks. So we are going to have fun.
Let's get right into it.
So
okay. So how cautious should we be? How cautious should we be? Because we're holding sticks. I'm quite far from Bukola.
Make sure you don't hit Bukola because I know you people are planning to.
Yeah, we're planning something.
We
have a good plan.
We have great plans for that.
Women supporting women.
I love that.
Let's see.
So first of all, before engaging in any exercise regimen, make sure you get an okay from your healthcare, from your doctor before engaging in any form of exercises.
Right.
Thank
Very
you.
important.
Yeah.
Okay, let's get it.
So what do we do first?
So we start with warm up. Please give us some music to motivate this place.
Okay,
Now,
producer, we need music.
And then you breathe out.
All right.
Now breathe in. And then you breathe out. All right. Now I need you to stretch down, straight to your stick, and just hold the stick in between. Hold it, bring it up, slide it up. Like I said, don't give excuses. You can improvise. You can get an umbrella and use it as stick. You can use anything. Just slide it. We're just warming up, okay? A little
If you have a mop stick,
you can use a mop stick.
there you go.
That's a good one. All right, pick it up and slide. Please give us some music. Music here.
We need some music. Okay, up first.
Yeah, up now. And take it down. Now I need you to just squat down a bit and stretch it out. Yeah, that's very good. Make sure your legs are well positioned. All right, now I need you to just twist sideways. Beautiful. Okay, you got it right there. Well done, Jeff. Well done, Coyote. You got it right there. Now take it to the other side.
You know, we're trying to see you as much as we.
Yeah.
We're trying to exercise.
Coyote, straighten your legs, please. Okay?
Oh, there you go.
Beautiful. You got it.
Thank you.
Good. All right, now take it forward. And then bring it up. Oh, we need this music right now, please.
Everyone is doing the exercise here.
All right. Now we are going straight to the exercise. So I need you to tap, tap,
right? Tap. Oh, this is where we need the music.
Tap. Please give us the music.
Kari, you're good with imaginary music. Can you give us some sound?
Oh, really?
Okay.
Right.
It's there now.
Are we supposed to hold it straight?
Yeah, just hold it. Shoulder width apart.
Okay.
Yeah. Up, down.
Up, down. Up,
down.
Oh, there you go. Now I'm beginning to feel the importance of the stick.
It's a support system.
Okay.
Up, good. Up, good. Up and down. And tighten your core. Make sure you tighten your core. Let the power come from your stomach. All right. Let's go. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Now take it up. Side. 1.
Okay.
2, 3. This works your core and your flexibility. It also helps to tone those love handles. Remember the last time we called them spare tires.
Oh, okay. The legs are moving as well.
Okay. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I hope you're working at home. I hope you're doing this at home. And 10, 9, 8.
Truth time.
I like this one.
Truth telling time.
This is easy.
Are you doing this at home, Jeffrey? Are you doing this at home,
now,
Jeffrey?
Swing, swing, swing. This is the stage
Jeffrey
where
didn't answer.
You need to protect.
Kari, are you doing this at home?
Good.
I'm doing this at work.
I like that answer.
6, 7.
We are moving our legs to the far end, but you're keeping it around that. Why?
9, 8, 7, 6.
The feet go to the back while we do this, right?
We are changing moves any moment now. Take it side, okay? Side. Side. Wow. Jeff, where are you?
I'm here.
Good. You got it.
So the impact of the stick is being felt.
Why do I feel exercise is easier for dancers? Because there's a bit of...
There's that rhythm.
Yeah,
in
there's
the
that rhythm.
midsection.
I think that's why someone was...
Tap. Tap. Back to the beginning.
So the impact of this is being felt in the midsection, right?
It's being felt all over the body. Okay. Because, like I said, whenever you're exercising, tighten your core. Let the power come from here. Okay.
Okay.
That figure, that posture we talked about.
You have to be deliberate, right?
Deliberate.
Yeah. Just hold it.
Hold it in. Hold it.
Some of us already have flat tummy. So where are we pushing it to?
Suck belly.
We don't need to
It's
suck.
actually the core that it's working.
Exactly.
It helps you when you want to lift.
And down. Let's go. Up and down. Good. Up and down. Up and down. Up. Make sure you're sticking out your elbows, okay?
And down.
No, Jeff, stick out your elbows this way. Left, down,
I can feel that.
jump. You got it. You got it, Coyote. Bookie, baby.
Yeah.
Let's go.
When you're lifting up buckets, you know how to do this.
Now, take your legs back. Let's walk those arm springs, okay? 3, 4, 5, 6.
Now we're truly getting into the drill.
8, 9, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6.
Wow.
5.
I can feel
4,
that.
3, 2, and side. 2. Cool it down. Very good. Well done, Jeff. You got that. Well done, Coyote. That was very, very good. Well done, Bookie. You're doing fine.
So the thing on your left leg is for what?
Okay, the guide. I always advise my clients to guide themselves, especially people above 40. The reason you need to do that is because of osteoporosis.
Okay.
Just to guide your joints.
Okay.
Yeah, all right, that was very good. Now I need you to place the stick on one side.
Like a Kung Fu master.
Yeah. So we're going to
The legs are spread.
The legs are spread, please. Now take your other arm out.
Okay.
You're going to squat a bit, all right?
Okay.
You just reach for the top of the seat. This works your core, your total core. Make sure you're tightening your abdominals, okay? Yeah, yes, you got that. 3,
Lovely.
let's go. 4, beautiful. You feel it. 5, good. Let's go. 6, just for 8 reps, and then we'll change, okay? 7, one more. And change to the other side. Well done, Kayode. That was really very good. Okay.
Thank you.
Top, ready? Your arms up.
Yeah.
Let's go. 1, make sure you're squatting. Squat a bit. 2.
How far away should your stick be from me?
3.
Not too far, right?
Not too far. 4. 5. Let's go. Come on.
Bukola, over your head. Bukola, over your head.
7. Above your head, yes. 8. Thank you for the correction, Jeff. 9. Very good. All right. Now ready to hold it. All right.
I'm taking like a 10-second break. I'm joking. Let's go.
Right, release a 10 seconds break. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7, 8, 10.
There you go.
Yeah. All
Go
right.
hard or go
The
home.
next one. Okay, I need you to get this move, okay?
Okay.
Back. All right, let's go.
The entire body. Okay.
2. 3.
This one is stronger.
4. You're moving backward. You're not jumping backward. Jeff, you're overworking yourself now, Jeff. Pepper. 8. 2 more. You can do it. 9. 1 more. Very good. That was very good. Legs apart. Book it. That was really very good.
Thank you.
Done. Now just take it up. Pull down. And breathe out.
How's the rest I can?
Sideways. Good.
I'm sure anywhere you are from home, if you're joining us, you're feeling this already, as we are.
And down. Now this is the best music that just came on. I think
And it'll make your morning worthwhile. Don't worry, we're not charging for it.
they're getting the free of charge.
I can feel it behind my knees,
Honestly.
my thighs.
My knees, my feet.
It's so relieving.
I'm stretching my feet.
Exercise
as well.
is sweet.
And it's enhancing blood flow
Honestly.
through the body.
Come. Now turn. All right. So let's together. Now just take it out. Squat
No,
down.
we need to know. How's that for sir?
We are running
Like this?
3. Yes. Put your legs together. 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah, that's Jeff. That's it. 8.
Okay, there's a slight squat.
Yes, light
On the
squat.
knee.
9, 10. 2 more. 1
Please confirm with your doctors
and 2.
before trying this at home.
Hold it sideways. Take your legs
Feel like
out.
a Kung Fu master.
Out. Okay. 2, 3. Just 5 of this and then we are done. Okay. 4. 1 more. And good. To the other side. Yeah. Legs
Like
up.
that actually.
1. Let's go. 2, 3, 4, and 5. All right. Legs together. Take it up. Go down. Drop it down. And squat down a bit. Good. We're rounding up. Now come up. And take it up. Good. And down. We are done today.
Let's do 2 more minutes.
Let's do 2 more.
Two more
Agree with
minutes.
you. I need
Yeah.
2 more minutes before the weekend. You know there'll be a lot of jollof rice eating
Oh my
tomorrow.
goodness.
There's a lot of cake.
Okay, what
So
about
let's
this
burn
one?
the
We need to
calories
work out
now.
What is this? What am I doing?
You're stretching your arm springs muscles.
Okay.
And it's actually going to help to tone up the muscles on that arm springs. With your quadriceps and your arm springs. Yeah.
You remind me of the avatar, Jeffrey.
Looks good.
Avatar Ang right now.
Yeah, and okay.
That's a lot of stretching.
2 minutes walk out. Okay.
Okay.
Just walk. Now hold it.
Our producer,
1, 2, 3.
for the records,
1, 2,
we invited
3.
her, and
Okay.
she gave
We
one
can add some
excuse
dancing to it.
that is not. Okay.
Okay.
Out.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Switch it up.
Twist it.
I like it.
Enjoy. No fun, no game. Let's go. Come on. Come on.
I like this one. It's easier to do.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Go.
Wow. Someone is dancing behind.
Come on, join us.
Stick piano. Oh.
There's an extra stick. Pick it up, our producer.
Okay, Buki.
Freestyle.
Okay.
This is my own freestyle.
Jeff, come on. Jeff, come on, you can do this. 4, 3, 2. Now take it straight.
And you have
See
to
that
hold
you
your
raise
core
the leg.
all through the spirit,
You
right?
need to take it out. Let's go. Stretch it. Wow! Jeff, that's good.
Yeah.
Buki, you got it. Stretch it. And 5, and 6, and 7, and 8. 2 more. And 9, and 10. That was really very good. Now let's drop the stick. Let's cool down. Okay? We don't want you having the muscle spasm and pain. Cool down. Circle down. Circle. Just cool down. And up. And down. Place your arms on your thighs and squat down. Take your hands down. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Come up. And breathe in. Breathe in. And breathe out. Now go stretch sideways and roll it down. Good. Well done. Take the other arms side, and roll it down. And good. Now place your arms behind and stretch it out.
Oh, I needed that. I can hear the crackings.
Honestly, it's so relieving, you know. And now push it forward. Push forward.
Wow, that's some pushing. You can feel your body going. See it going ahead of you, or along with you, rather.
Honestly.
So, Coach Beauty, we're ready for tomorrow's jollof rice.
Come on.
And down.
So, Coach Beauty, how often should we add this to our exercise routine?
Yeah. How often? Yeah. We had said over time, 3 times weekly is okay for working out. 3 times weekly is not bad at all. 3 times weekly. But try and put in other things so that it doesn't get boring.
I think you stick on
that's why we brought the stick, so that it doesn't get boring.
Variety to it, right?
Variety is the spice of life.
I love this. Coach Beauty, how many hours should we sleep after this?
We should have a bath. Go to
like
sleep.
8 hours.
You're going to be more active anyway. Throughout today, you're going to be more active. So that's what exercise does for you. It makes you more active.
So, Coach Beauty, please remind them that after all of the jollof, they have to come back and do this again at least 3 times next week.
3 times weekly. Yes,
3 times weekly.
Yes, please.
All right.
Coach Beauty, we'd like to thank you so much for coming through as always. We absolutely enjoy this. You can catch her online. She has some amazing routines for you. Thank you so much, Coach Beauty.
And that's our offering for you today and indeed for the entire week. Thank you so much for watching. Join us again same time next week when we'll bring you another brilliant editions of your perfect day starter. I'm Bukola Koka.
Sunrise is up next. Of course, they're not exercising. They're asking questions. That's different. Just a joke. I'm Jeffrey Zama.
Whatever the case, stick around with us. Point intended. I'm kind of Goodbye.